Where am I? The temperature is rising, from the biting chill to the howling flames. Isolated, but I am not alone. We stand together. Take this fight to a new battleground. The island. Our rivals rise from the ashes and champions fall into the blaze. But an unstoppable inferno burns within us, a drive bubbling deep under the surface, braced to erupt. We fight fire with our own fire. Hear our war cry. Prepare for combat.
With the midpoint of the Extreme E season reached at the Arctic X-Prix in Greenland, the championship moved to its fourth and penultimate race location, the Island X-Prix in Sardinia, Italy. This mountainous island is the second largest in the Mediterranean, and like much of the region, it has been increasingly feeling the effects from climate change.
We are here in the island of Sardinia, in the south of the island of Sardinia, and we are having the Island X-Prix. The interesting thing of, and almost the surprise, it wasn't a surprise, but a discovery, we are here in Sardinia, so much closer to home, and there are massive effects of climate change that can be felt in this island, in Europe. We have seen huge wildfires in this island this summer, bigger than ever before. And that is also a consequence of climate change. The temperature of the sand under the forest. And the problem is, when you put out the fire, after a couple of days, the fire comes back. So really devastating. Second element we're going to be focusing is under the water. The Posidonia oceanica, this algae, it's a huge carbon sink. Captures more carbon than rainforest. And in some areas in the Mediterranean, this Posidonia is deteriorating. We are going to cooperate with a local organization to recover, to restore areas of Posidonia oceanica, to restore this amazing carbon sink. I think the course here for the Island X-Prix is going to be unique, different to everything else that we've seen so far. Very tricky, very challenging. The surface, the terrain is very broken. You can actually be on a line that is more flat, and 10 centimeters to the right you can have a ravine. So really challenging. The drivers are going to have to be super careful with the cars, really take care of the cars, because I think the one that brings the car safe till the end of the race, that one has a big chance of winning.
Each X-Prix course takes weeks of planning and mapping to ensure it's safe and as exciting as possible. For the Island X-Prix, Extreme E's course advisor, two-time DTM champion Timo Scheider, gave the course its final seal of approval by heading out in the Odyssey 21 to see what the teams would be battling with.
Hi, my name is Timo Scheider, track designer for Extreme E and also championship driver. Today I'd like to welcome you for the NLX Island X-Prix track reveal. This is the start of the lap, which is very unique because we have like 5 different options. Right from the start line we have 5 different lanes. You can choose the very left one, you can choose some in the middle, or even to the far right we have another option. And all those lines will match after like 500-600 meters again, so which is already the first hot topic, when they will meet and how they will meet. And like you see now, the track is very, very bumpy. This is creating for sure a lot of airtime for the car, big time, like you just saw now. So the rear end was up in the air here. These hidden bumps can create a lot of trouble for you. As more risk you take, you'll probably get something out of it, but you risk a lot if you are going a bit too quick. And now, very soon, this is a high-speed area, it's like 150, 160 kph. This is the first water splash so far in Extreme E. which is very small in the beginning, but we will have another one coming, so that's even better. Through the bushes here, you have to be very precise, very tight, and try to find the right line and the right speed, and pay attention again about the bumps. And now we are coming closer to another big bump you saw right now. So this is very tricky to see even in the camera, and we are not going like 100%. When those guys going full send, this will be even more tricky. And now this is the big water splash like you just see now. And now we're coming to the third very high speed sector. It's a small chicane right here over the crest. And now I would suggest to have here the hyperdrive down here, this long straight, which will end up in a 90-degree left-hand corner into a very soft sandy area. Now it's more or less coming to the final section of the track, going over the crest without seeing where you drop now. So you will drop down. This place is also quite special, into a 90-degree left-hand corner. And right now you're going to enter the switch zone, which is coming there just in front. Make sure you hit the speed limiter button in time to go to the switch zone and to hand over to your teammate.
With the course set, it was the turn of the teams and drivers to get to grips with it in their electric racing machines by heading out for the first free practice session to collect as much data as possible.
We haven't put our feet on the ground yet to really see what it's like, but it's definitely more what we're accustomed to. It's dirt, finally.
This is definitely more like home. It's very similar to Baja and the environments we race at in the States, so I think it's going to be good. It's just a matter of really kind of figure it out and see what's going to work and what's not.
There's massive ruts, you can stand in them. I mean, we're
like
sitting in one. Just imagine trying to get your car through that. And that's what we're going to be doing at speed. And especially when we're side-by-side racing, we're going to be pushed off the line that we've practiced, and you might come across something like this and you're going to have to deal with it. So it's going to be really, really demanding on the cars.
These races are very challenging. From a driver's point of view, it already starts now. Making the right choices and figuring out what is the good line, that is very key to be able to be fast on qualifying on Saturday. So you need to be very sharp at every day here and every stage. Then come the racing on Sunday. That's just the enjoyable part.
The track has a lot of small details on a lot of places where you can gain time and where you can lose time if you don't hit it correctly.
Yeah, certainly having different options will throw something into the mix. I mean, I think there's always going to end up being the fastest line at the end of the day. So whether it's possible to do any maneuvers or make a difference in a different line, I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see how it plays out. But yeah, it certainly adds another dimension.
As championship leaders, all eyes were on Rosberg X Racing to see if they could maintain or even extend their lead to rival X44, who were just 9 points behind them coming into Sardinia.
With a championship lead, that's always difficult to go into a track like that because, of course, we don't want to take too big risks. But we will see. Track looks quite cool, so I think it's important to make a good practice and try to build from there.
During the session, some teams suffered technical issues, whilst others pushed a little too hard. JBXE's Kevin Hansen fired the rear of his car high into the air, and the huge impact as it came crashing down collapsed the suspension, and he limped back to the paddock. But his older brother, Timmy Hansen, managed to go one step further, destroying the rear right wheel of his Andretti United machine after hitting a boulder on course at over 140 kilometers per hour.
We was actually feeling good, and I was aware that this track is tricky and slowing down in a few places, but there was a very fast left over a crest, and I just used my hyperdrive and I tried to stay flat, but the car went a bit sideways and there was a rock. And you know, I'm used to being on circuits and stuff, so I'm not, as probably a lesson for me, but I think that will be important, trying to be clever and lose your ego a bit in trying to be the fastest all the time and just trying to get the car to the finish line.
Studies have shown global temperatures are continuing to rise at an alarming rate, creating ideal conditions for more severe wildfires to occur across the planet. A report by the European Space Agency in 2021 estimates that every year fire affect 4 million square kilometers of land globally. That's equivalent to 560 million football pitches, or the size of Greenland, our third race location, and Saudi Arabia, our first race location, combined. These fires also release an enormous volume of CO2 and other greenhouse gases into the atmosphere. The UK government estimated that in the whole year of 2020, the UK released 326 megatons of CO2 into the atmosphere. In the month of August 2021, wildfires globally produced 1,384 megatons of CO2, more than 4 times the amount the UK produced in a year. With the aim of leaving a lasting legacy in Sardinia, Extreme E and its team of scientists have been working with local climate organisation MEDSEA to better understand how wildfires have affected the island and help mitigate their impact.
The area involved is about something like 1 million hectares. It's more than has ever happened in Sardinia before, and it's comparable with the sizes of the California fires, the Australia fires, and the Siberia fires.
This summer we have one of the most impressive fires in the last decades. We had an average temperature of 45 degrees for a couple of days. Then we had extreme winds that were mixing in this area and creating a condition for propagating the fire. The temperature of the soil that we measure with sensors just before the fire of 70-80 degrees. That is huge. So all this combination made this fire devastate more than 20,000 hectares. So I think that European decision makers can easily have a look at what's happening in the Mediterranean to understand what will happen in the next 10 years in the rest of Europe.
I think the wildfires are something that happens normally in summer when it's hot. A lot of attention goes to it, and then people forget. But the impact of the wildfires is very long. Climate change is making worse and worse the fires. For me, it was a huge impact to come and see how this area has been impacted, and that's why it's important to be here with Extreme E talking about the fires.
Came to see where the wildfires is happening, how the city village has been affected. They said that 80% of this village was affected, so pretty much everything, and we're trying to regenerate the area by planting trees.
It's crazy. Obviously, when you come here and you see with your eyes, all the burned trees and ground, it's seriously insane. We actually managed to take some of the gravel in our hands, and was basically ash. So obviously it's really sad to see all these things happening. It's not so nice.
Thanks to this opportunity provided by Extreme E and Enel, we will try to experiment, to test here a new approach to try to reverse the ravages of this summer. A key part of our work, we need to communicate, we need to understand that this is not just in models, in climate models, this is not just in science fiction books, this is real, this is now, and we need to act now.
With each Extreme E event aiming to race without a trace, the team's garages on site must be robust enough to maintain and repair the cars, as well as be lightweight and portable to be shipped on the championship's floating paddock, the St. Helena. Chip Ganassi's team principal Dave Birkenfield gave some insight into what goes into each team's garage.
Yeah, hello, Dave Birkenfield here. So I'm the team manager at Chip Ganassi Racing, Segi TV, Extreme E race team. And we're here at the Island X-Prix in Sardinia, Italy. And I'm very happy to give you guys a little bit of a garage tour. So walk with me. You know, the car is built by Spark Technologies. They build the chassis. It's a homologated chassis by the FIA, which means that the series and all the teams within the series actually race a spec chassis. That means our car is fundamentally the same as our competitors next to us up and down the paddock. While we're at these crazy places, our logistics and our inventory for the car is actually cut a little bit because Spark did this interesting thing where our front right wishbones, or in US speak would be our A-arms, for our front right are actually the same as our rear left. So we actually can swap those side to side if we wish, as well as cut our inventory of spares down by 50%. So interesting little tidbit there. First thing we come to here is just a group tool set. These are one of the challenges that we had, is that we were only allowed to bring so much stuff. It all has to fit on the sledge that's all the way out back. We made the choice to go a little bit differently and have a communal tool set, and everyone in the team works from it. We actually carry it all in this box. The whole thing is a transformer, comes together, goes in the box. The pod brackets go in the back of the pod, it all folds up, and then has wheels, and we roll it onto our sledge. So this is their zone here, and we're in their way, so we're gonna keep moving. You know, we really like to keep this car clean. One of the things we really like to keep clean is this picture down here of Johan eyeballing our shocks in Greenland on the starting grid. So we just wanted to make sure if you ever wanted to do it again, he could come see himself at any point. So each one of these pods, our guys in Indianapolis in our fab shop actually built these for us. So each one of these has got a frame inside, and then, you know, we're trying to stay organized. Behind you here is our engineering team with Ryan and Parker. They're working on pulling data off the car. So everything that we bring with us has to fit on this pallet, this sledge. So all the stuff that you see behind you, it all gets boxed up, organized, inventoried, and then we have to build the sledge and then put a cover on it. Kyle and Sarah get their own private spot where they can relax a little bit, review some footage of the race, hang up and dry their suits, sit down, and get prepared for the next event. Thanks for joining us here on the Chip Ganassi Racing Segi TV Hummer EV Tour, number 99, getting ready to race in Italy.
The world's finest drivers have joined brand new teams to compete in the Extreme E Championship. Each team will consist of one female and one male driver. The drivers will compete in 5 X-Prix across the globe, each highlighting a specific environmental issue. An Extreme E race consists of 2 laps. The male and female driver must complete 1 lap each. Each team has 2 hyperdrive power boosts they can activate on lap 1 and lap 2 of the race. Expect strategy and tactics. Over the course of an X-Prix, the quickest team that goes through the Continental Traction Challenge collects a further 5 team championship points. Day 1 is qualifying and consists of 2 qualifying rounds. In each round, every team does 2 laps against the clock, with both drivers driving a lap each. In both rounds, there are qualifying points up for grabs, and this determines how they progress to the Day 2 semi-finals and crazy race. There are also championship points to be won, with the top team in qualifying bagging 12 vital points, down to the last place qualifying team who walk away with just 4. Day 2 starts with the semi-final, with the top 2 teams from each semi progressing to the final. The bottom 3 teams from Day 1's qualifying go head-to-head in the crazy race, with the winner taking the last remaining place in the final. The top 2 teams from the semi-finals and the winner of the crazy race will battle it out in the 5-car final. The team that crossed the line first wins the X-Prix and claims 25 championship points, with the following teams collecting further points in descending order. All 5 X-Prix count towards the team's championship, and in the Drivers' Championship, competitors can drop their worst result of the season. Who has what it takes to lift the trophy? After practice the day before, the teams needed to put what they had learnt into action as they headed for the first set of qualifying runs against the clock. The tricky course took no prisoners, with more bad luck for Chip Ganassi as Sarah Price got too sideways on her run and broke the rear left suspension.
Guys, I clipped dirt rock. The car felt totally different than when we went out to practice.
Excite Energy Racing also crashed out with detached front right steering.
Front left steering, I think. Front left steering.
Andretti United's Timmy Hansen lost his power steering on the start line, but the team chose to try to finish his lap.
Go power steering.
We just need to keep driving, do your best, you're doing good.
With this heroic effort, it saw the Swede dislocate his shoulder whilst fighting with the wheel.
First half of the lap I was really fighting it, but by the end it's just like it's too long, so then at every bump it just ripped the steering wheel out of my hands, and through some of the bumps it dislocated my shoulder. It was not that bad. It's happened before. Some painkillers and I'll be alright this afternoon.
The championship leaders Rosberg X Racing were looking to put in a super fast lap in Q1. With Johan Kristoffersson starting, he then handed over to Molly Taylor, but just like in Greenland, once again, disaster struck.
Oh, Molly's not dropped it, she's Spanish, she rolls! rolls the car, same as in Greenland. Back on the wheel, she gets going again.
Oh, Molly, how could you do that again?
I don't know how it happened again. The steering, it went out of my hands. I couldn't do anything.
With RXR falling by the wayside, it was there for the taking for X44. Despite Cristina Gutierrez spinning on her lap, a monstrous effort from Sebastian Loeb saw them take another qualifying victory, with Acciona Sainz in P2 and Veloce in P3. During the second qualifying session, Veloce Racing and Acciona Sainz were looking to build on their Q1 success, but it wasn't to be. Stefan Sarrazin took damage on his lap and suffered with broken suspension.
The front right steering arm is broken.
And Laia Sanz in the Acciona car also suffered with technical issues on her lap. JBXE were looking to take advantage of the other team's mistakes, pushing for a spot in the semi-finals. However, Michaela Arlin Kotalinski spun on her lap, pushing them down the order. It was a similar story for Abt Cupra XE. After Jutta Kleinschmidt put in a solid lap, she handed over to Matthias Ekström, who also spun out.
Ekström with a spin.
Despite Matthias getting loose on his lap, their overall time was still competitive. With no more margin for error, RXR's Molly Taylor and Johan Kristoffersson put in 2 fast and problem-free laps.
They get P3.
What an impressive drive that was. He looks absolutely wired.
A good comeback for RXR, but X44's qualifying dominance shone through once again.
Sebastian Loeb is getting the old genius hat on.
With Christina bringing it home for the team, they topped the qualifying time yet again, meaning they secured themselves a spot into semi-final 1 and 12 vital championship points. They'd line up against Chip Ganassi Racing and Andretti United. With RXR being second best, they'd be battling it out with Abt Cupra XE and Acciona Sainz in semi-final 2, meaning the crazy race would see JBXE, Excite Energy Racing and Veloce fighting for the 5th spot in the final yet again. Another action-packed qualifying session was done, and the teams had plenty of work to do for their cars to be ready for day 2 and the exciting multi-car races.
The motorsport community that has come together in this championship is quite incredible. It's second to none. So many different legends here in this paddock from all the different kinds of motorsports, all racing together in this new series.
It's interesting because we are coming from the old race cars and now we are going to the new generation. So I think it's very nice to be one of the first one who has the chance to do that.
It's one of the first full electric series, especially on gravel, and the drive was a woman, so it's something completely different from what I was used to, and exciting all the time you take the start.
I have been around so many years that something must be different. Of course, the hair, but still I get enough excited to give it all when I'm driving and trying to win every single race.
It's not just established stars who fill the Extreme E paddock. There are a host of talented young drivers rubbing shoulders with the legends and pushing the boundaries of motorsport.
It's incredible to be able to learn and progress and compare yourself to these guys. When I was 10 years old and I'd be watching TV and then I'd see Loeb and Sainz racing, it's quite funny to think that I'm now in the same championship as them. So yeah, I have to pinch myself sometimes because we'll be sat on the bus with them having a chat on the way back to the hotel. It's quite surreal.
Extremely, I love the crossover. Exciting motorsports with this purpose, this social cause that we're fighting for, which is equality. We want to lead the way in showing how in motorsports women can have the same opportunity as men. And I think we want to set an example there.
Through all my motorsport career, I was practically alone racing against all the guys. And now I think it's fantastic that we have 50% of women and 50% of men racing together in teams.
This new format is working towards the quality, sustainability. I think it was worth to be here and to participate in this championship and try to send the correct message.
Next time on Electric Odyssey, we learn how Extreme E's legacy program is helping preserve underwater carbon sinks off the coast of Sardinia.
Seagrass is a plant very important for climate change, for the health of the Mediterranean Sea.
It's really cool to be a part of these legacy programs. We hear about them, but actually to be on the ground, I think is some of my favourite days when we're here racing with Extreme E.
We get stuck into the Extreme E Season 2 testing.
Well, it's crucial for the team and for us to, get out there and play with the car, discover it a bit more, than when it's under race format.
And see all the action unfold from the semi-finals.
And the green light goes. It says a lot of dust, which is really difficult to see, so Ekstrom having a real battle.
Oh, brilliant start by Hansen. Great reaction time. He's going to try and take that lane off Segi TV. Chicken Racing immediately gets in. Door to door with X44. Christina Gutierrez is off.